Hi guys, a warm welcome to www.shanegadd.com. So I'd like to take a moment just to introduce myself, kind of share with you some of what I'm about, what I do. One of the questions I get asked so many times is, Shane, when did you start? When did you know? When did all this happen to you? When did you first start having experiences? How did you know that you were able to connect with the spirit world? Well, like for so many of us that do the work we do, normally we've had an experience going back into our childhood. Now, I'm a real true believer that there's not one person that hasn't had a spiritual experience of some description or another. I believe that we all have them, and they range from being very, very subtle to being very obvious. But I believe that we've all had one in one form or another, and in many cases more than one. It's like that moment when you meet someone for the first time, you get a sense, you get a knowing that you either feel drawn and warm to them, you either like them or dislike them. It's an instant knowing, it's an instant feeling. Or when you have a friend on your mind, you can feel that there's something not quite right, and then they ring you within the next few hours, or that whole sense of you walk into a room and you feel an atmosphere, or you get a sense of being watched. They're subtle to obvious, but we all have those experiences. So for me, mine started when I was 7 years old. I was there asleep at home, mum and dad asleep, and I woke up, and there standing at the end of the bed was a lady, completely as clear as I can see everything around me right now. And I mean, I was absolutely petrified. I was numb and froze to the spot. That much so that I only realised a couple years ago that even though back then I called out for mum and dad, I realised only a couple of years ago probably what have happened is that I actually called out in my head, not physically, because I was froze to the spot. I was really, really scared, really, really fearful. Mum and dad never came, so that's how I know. A couple of years ago I realised that I never actually physically called out in my mind, because they never came. After a while, the lady almost stepped back into the shadow and she disappeared. She almost dissolved. Now, I don't have any recollection of this, but the next day I described this lady in so much detail to my dad. He knew exactly who it was. Turned out to be my grandmother on my mum's side, who passed when I was only 2 years old, so I have no recollection of her. A hugely powerful experience, not only for myself, but also for my dad, because the detail was so detailed, full, that he knew exactly who it was. And you know what? It really unnerved him. One, because the description was so detailed, and two, he never got on with her, so he's thinking, oh my God, what's she doing haunting the house? So a very, very, very powerful experience, not only for me, but also for my dad. And it had to be that way looking back now. It had to be that way because what it done was set into motion a whole chain of events that happened from that point as I grew up, which has really, really nurtured and encouraged me to do what I'm doing today. So, very powerful experience that happened when I was 7 years old. It was the start of a whole chain of events that have led me to where I am today. I am a true believer that we all have those experiences, from subtle to obvious. And thereafter having that experience, several people would come and visit. I'd have visitations and we would figure out who they were. So yeah, a very, very powerful experience. Have a look around the site, have a read of my testimonials, enjoy the site, and I hope to share with you very soon and again. Thanks guys, bye.